Okay, we're back in Luke again. The verses we're going to cover on the back of your program. We have to make more programs. You know, last Sunday we learned about, we heard about worry versus trust. And about how we should not worry about the things of this world, and instead we should trust in Him who created this world and who created everything in it, who created us. We're not supposed to fear, we're not supposed to give thought or worry about those who can kill our body, and instead we're supposed to focus all our thoughts, all our prayers, and indeed we're supposed to fear Him, the Most High, God. That's what we're supposed to focus on. And so with that kind of as the background, the rhetorical question is, how is your life going as far as Jesus is concerned? How is your life going? How are the priorities in your life? How are the things you worry about, the things you fear, the things you dwell on, the things you think about? How do those line up? I mean, do you love Jesus? Of course, we're all going to say yes, but this is for yourself to do some deep introspection. How much do you love Him? Do you long for His return? Are you like, man, I just cannot wait till I'm reunited with Him? We have, I quoted a lot on the internet, even so, come Lord Jesus. It's almost at the end of the Bible, right? Maranatha, come Jesus, come Him. Do you know when He's coming back? People say, no man knows the hour or the day, right? We read that in the Word. But do you know when He's coming back? There's a pretty good case that can be made that Jesus, Yeshua, when He comes back, will come back during the Feast of Trumpets. That's probably another sermon, another study for another time. But do you know which Feast of Trumpets it's going to be? No, you don't. And here's the other thing. Are you going to be here for that Feast of Trumpets? Do you know that? You don't know. Right? Brother Mike and I were just talking about some guy who died the other day totally unexpectedly. And that can happen, and it does happen all the time, And so you don't know when it is that you may die. And so, because we don't know, ask yourself, how are you ready? Am I ready right now to meet Jesus? Is my life squared away to the point that I want it to be when I go to see Jesus? Because, a piece of space junk could fall out of the sky and take me out of this pulpit. Just like that, right now. Am I ready right now? Are you ready right now? Is your life in order? And should you even be concerned about that? Should you even be concerned if your life is squared away right now to the point that you want it to be, to the point that it should be? That's what we're going to read about today. So we're going to look at today. Today's sermon is entitled, Be Ready. So let's pick up in Luke chapter 12, verse 35. Let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. This is Yeshua speaking to His disciples and to the people assembled. Now you guys have heard this in this church, and you've heard it in other churches. Let your loins be girded, right? The men wore dresses. In Afghanistan, we call them man dresses. I don't know what the real term is for. But guys wore these long dress robe things. And guess what? You can't run. You can't fight. You can't do active action things with your dress on. Now, ask a girl, because none of us wear dresses, men. But if a girl has a floor-length dress on and she has to run across that field, can she do it? Yes, she can, but she's going to have to pull her dress up so that her knees are free to move, right? And then once she does that, she can do that. Well, if you're a warrior, if you're going to fight, if you're going to do things, you need your hands. And you can't be pulling up your man dress and running, right? Because you got to hold a spear or a shield or a sword or something in your hand. And so what they would do is take the back of their dress and pull it up and tuck it in their belt. And so it looked like they had these pair of shorts on, right? That was called girding your loins. And you would gird your loins when you were ready for action. Now that action could be building something, that action could be fighting, that action could be running from a tiger. or a lion or something like that, but you would gird your loins. And so that phrase came to be, get ready for action. Gird your loins. So this is what Yeshua is saying. Let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. One year we had a, what would you call it, a revival in Easton, where we went down there and the theme was light, and let your light so shine before men that men see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven, right? Let your light shine. That's the light here that Jesus is talking about, and your lights be burning. We read Psalm 119 today. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. Your word, Most High, is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. That's the light that should be shining. Continues in verse 36. And ye yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord when he will return from the wedding. And when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately. So let your loins be girded, let your light be shining, let your lamp already be lit and going. You guys know the story of the 10 virgins. 5 had oil, 5 didn't. The silly, foolish ones didn't have oil. Their lamps weren't ready for the wedding feast, right? What happened? They had to go get oil somewhere else and they missed it, right? And there was wailing and gnashing of teeth. And so be ready. Long ago, I was a platoon leader of a scout reconnaissance platoon. And these were probably some of the best soldiers in the battalion. And the battalion was about 500-700 men. And this was some of the best soldiers that I had under my command. And they were very, very good in the woods when we would go do things. And my guys were always ready. They were trained, and if I had to go somewhere, if we were in the woods on a patrol and everybody would pull off and they'd be facing out with their guns, and I would go on a reconnaissance or something with just a couple guys, I'd come back and I would just do this, and all my guys would stand up, put their rucksacks on, and we'd be ready to go. And we never talked. We never talked when we were in the woods. And it used to irritate me if we had to have a conversation, or if somebody would do this, like you're going too fast or slow down. It would just irritate me. And I trained my guys, and they knew that, and so they were very good. And one time we were doing something, and they attached to my scout platoon the cooks for the battalion. And so we're in the woods, and we're having to patrol from point A to point B, which was, a mile or so through the woods, through the jungle actually in Hawaii. And we took a little break, and I used to tell my guys this for a break, and they would all go out and get down, and then I'd go like 10 minutes, and they'd know in 10 minutes we're going to leave, and I'd stand up and I'd go like this, and they'd all put their rucksacks on, and we'd go, because they were ready. And so we do that, we start walking, and then I hear somebody running from the back. Trying to catch up, and I hear psst, and I turn around and I look, my guy's like, and I go back, and one of my scouts says, and I'm about to yell at him for making noise in the woods, and he goes, "Sir, you have to come see this." And so I'm like, all right, I told everyone to stop again, and I went back, and the cooks, God bless them, they hadn't been trained like the scouts had. When I said take a 10-minute break, what my guys did is they sat down, they opened up a canteen, they drank it, and they grabbed a little bit of food and ate it, but they were all ready to go. The cooks decided 10-minute break meant we're stopped for the day. They took off their boots and their socks, and they opened up their rucksacks and dumped them on the ground, and the stuff was just scattered everywhere. And then when it was 10 minutes, let's go, and they weren't ready. And they were like, oh, and I come back, and they weren't ready. Okay, these men weren't ready. And that's what came to mind was, hey, be ready. When the Master comes back, when the Messiah comes back, he's telling us you need to be ready. You don't need to have your stuff scattered all over. You don't need to be like, hey, I just need a couple minutes, I need a couple hours, I need a couple days, I need a couple weeks, whatever it is, to get my stuff together. The time to be ready is now, not later. And that's what we're getting to today. Be ready. We are supposed to be ready. We are supposed to be prepared and anticipating, eagerly looking forward to, taking actions to be prepared for the return of our Messiah. And when he comes and knocks, we may open unto him immediately. Not, oh, he's here, let's get ready. Yeah, just a minute. Told my wife, Tungus, good job. Yeah, that's Malaysian for just a second. Okay. No. When he knocks, and this is a metaphor, we need to be ready to open the door immediately. Hi, you're here. I've been waiting for you. I'm ready to go. My loins are girded and I have my lamp lit. I'm ready, you're here, I'm glad. So the time to get your life in order is now. There's a lot of people running around out there today saying, yeah, my life's a little bit of a mess, I got to get control of this area of my life, I got to do this. And in their minds, because we're humans and we think this way, we think we have all the time in the world. Remember the guy we talked about last week that said, I have all this stuff and so I'm going to build bigger barns to store my stuff in. Because he was anticipating a life of ease that he was going to live with all this stuff. Because he didn't think the end was coming. And what did Jesus say to him? You're a fool, right? I use this phrase too much. I shouldn't as a pastor, but I say you're an idiot. You're not thinking. Tonight, your life is going to be required from you. And so he needed to be ready then, and he wasn't. He thought he had